what is it called? AMR. The like you know.
Chomp. I heard there's like AMR OnlyFans accounts.
Oh my god.
Yeah. When people pay creators just to
eat, and they don't even send photos.
I don't know. Maybe they're filming or something as well.
Yeah.
But they can request. Can you let me hear you crunch into a cucumber?
That is so weird.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah, people are so weird.
Don't you think like that? There's like so much more weirdness out in the open now.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it's almost as if, I have a kink and nobody has it yet, so I have to go public with it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you probably shouldn't.
Don't do it. But if you do, you're probably going to make a fuck ton of money, which is the bizarre thing.
Yeah.
Like you heard about that girl that was like farting in jars.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
I was like, is that a thing? And she's like, I'm making $50,000 a week. I'm like, oh my God, how many farts is that?
For farting in a jar?
Yeah. Isn't that ridiculous?
That is crazy. No, the ridiculous part is that why haven't I done it?
Yeah,
Like,
you would make bank.
I would make so much money.
Because you have such a specific, you're Sri Lankan, Norway, Denmark comedian.
I can fart in different languages.
Yeah. those farts are so valuable.
I know.
Yeah. They're the most important types of real niche.
International farts. I can go in different countries and
they're
fart
funny.
there. Yeah.
You got some funny farts.
Funny farts.
Yeah.
Have I farted in front? No, I haven't. Have I?
Have you farted? What were you going to say?
I haven't farted in front of you.
No.
No.
Well, not that I know of.
No.
I don't know. Maybe
right.
you're just on stage just sneaking them out. Just like, this is my thing. I'm just like, they don't even know when they're laughing. It's like,
yeah, like the release is the fart, not the laugh.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's your endorphins just going, I need this. I need this, guys. That's stupid.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, fuck
Hello.
it.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Maybe I should introduce myself.
Yeah, introduce yourself. Who the fuck are you?
Who the fuck? Yeah, I just farted outside your door and then you let me in. It was kind of weird.
That's how I made all my friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell us, who are you?
My name is Dharshika Christopher. I'm a stand-up comedian, but I'm from Norway, but I'm based in Denmark.
You don't look Norwegian.
Oh my God.
Dharshika is not a Norwegian name.
No, it's not a Norwegian name. Like, yeah.
So, but you got some flavor in your DNA.
I got some flavor. Yeah, that's what they call it, spices. So my passport's in Norwegian. I think the correct term in Norwegian would be second generation non-Western immigrant.
That's too long.
It's too long.
Yeah, we got to shorten it down.
And I discussed it with an American, and he was like, no, you're first generation Norwegian. I'm like, no, I'm second generation. I was like, but I am first generation Norwegian. I'm born in Norway.
Yeah.
So I should be first generation Norwegian.
He's got a point, but you've got a point too.
Yeah, because
you're not the second generation that was from Norway, because the first generation was your dad, but you're the first generation born here.
Yeah.
So what the fuck is right? Is it first or second?
I think in the US it's first, but in Norway it's the second. But I like the first generation Norwegian better than the second generation non-Western immigrant. Because will my kids be third generation non-Western immigrant child of?
Yeah. I think the first generation is better too.
Yeah,
because it sounds like you had the struggle. It sounds like you had to deal with leaving your home country and get on the small boat and came over here.
Or actually, it does sound. I think it sounds like the opposite. It sounds like I was the first generation to have welfare system in Norway.
I guess it's a matter of perspective. It depends on how much street cred you want.
Yeah. First generation of free education and oil money, pension plans.
Yeah, but you don't live in Norway.
I don't live in Norway.
Why?
No.
Why don't you live in Norway?
You
don't like Norway? What's wrong with Norway?
It's always wrong. It's like, why are you here? Go back. It's like,
why did you leave?
Go back.
You can't. Nobody can win.
No, nobody can win. I got a job in Denmark 4 years ago, and in connection with my education, and I wrote my thesis in Copenhagen.
Okay, and so you went there to get a job and study, or
I went to Denmark because I wrote a thesis about air passenger rights.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It was.
Oh wow.
I thought it was a lot of fun. Maybe not haha fun, but it was interesting.
Air passenger rights.
Okay.
Okay.
No, did you know if your flight is delayed by more than 3 hours, you can get money?
Yeah,
and I wrote my entire academical thesis about that.
Okay, about people do they Do people know their rights?
No, that's the thing. They don't know. But so that's why they have this firm who is a third party between the air company and the passenger. So they can send the case to them, and then they go to court. They can eventually go to court with that case, demanding money, and they know the legal stuff. And then it's like a no cure, no pay. But the thing is that model is not allowed in Norway for lawyers, but it's allowed in Denmark as a company, inkassoselskap. I don't remember the name in English. Yeah. So they do it there. So they have a Norwegian branch, but in Denmark. So I moved to Denmark to work there.
I thought that was a scam, but it's real?
It's real.
Because my flight was delayed and I ended up like having to stay at a hotel for like 2 days in Amsterdam. And then,
but when was it?
This was in like 2018 or 17, 2018.
Oh, it's too long ago. If it was less than 3 years ago,
yeah,
I could have helped you.
Well, that would have been awesome. But I got an email from this company. I was like, this looks like phishing. This is a clickbait attack on my... But it was real?
I don't know if...
Because they wrote to me a bunch.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if that company was real.
Yeah, okay.
But the thing is that it's weird that they wrote to you when you were delayed. It's like, how did they get the passenger information?
Yeah, right.
That is weird.
But they knew it all. Maybe they were just tracking flights and sky scanning or something. And they go, that got delayed.
Yeah. Okay, so they went to shady...
Yeah, well, they wrote to me and they said that we could help you and you're entitled to all this shit. And I was just like, whatever.
Oh, no, but that's so dumb because you are entitled, but you don't need to use the company to get your rights.
Yeah, they ended up putting me in some like hotel and like outside of Amsterdam somewhere. And I just ended up just like fucking watching TV for a day and a half.
Which air carrier?
It was KLM.
Oh, yeah. They're sneaky.
Right?
Yeah.
They were pretty sneaky.
Yeah, but they always give you like, a hotel and a new flight. It's like, you should be grateful. It's like, I should also have 400 euros, which is what you would be entitled to.
Yeah, because I just kind of thought, well, it was bad weather and there was snow and who can control the weather? I guess nobody can.
Because that's actually what I wrote my thesis about, the extraordinary circumstances.
Yeah, force majeure.
Yes. So in that case, you would not be able to have you would not have the compensation, but you would have a refund of hotel and food.
Oh, yeah, okay. And they covered that anyway.
Yeah, they covered it. So they actually did it right. But 2 days is a bit long.
It was long. Well, because it wasn't because of... It was because I was flying to an island in the Caribbean called St. Bart's. Mm-hmm. And they only have a flight from Amsterdam to St. Martin's every second day. Yeah. So I missed the first connection and then I had to stay the first night and then stay the second night. So that was it.
Okay, so actually based on that, maybe they could have booked you through another air carrier.
We looked into it when I got there. Okay, so there was maybe going through Air France, but then that didn't happen. It was the same Air France and KLM cooperate or something to get there. So.
Yeah, but they could have booked you through another company.
Those motherfuckers.
Yeah, so actually I could maybe, by the few facts you've given me, I could have argued that you would be entitled to some compensation.
Listen, if we invite a time machine, if there's a time machine that gets invented and we can go back a year and a half or something, I'm going to get you on the case.
If I had a time machine, the only thing I would do was to make sure that you got your 400 to 600 euros back from that delay.
Thank you. If
that
you
is
could,
the sole thing
that's
I
it.
would do.
Don't kill Hitler. Don't go back and solve, don't stop anything catastrophe. Just fix that.
Yeah.
But if you could go back in time and change one thing, what would it be?
That's such a good question.
Isn't it?
It is a good question. I don't know. I try to live with no regrets.
Yeah, good. Okay, let me ask it in another way. Then, if you could go back and change one thing from your life, would you do it?
I don't know.
No, nothing.
I wouldn't. No.
Not even that outfit. I mean,
yeah. Ouch.
Sorry.
Okay, now
I'm sorry. You walked into it. Yeah, okay. But you live with a lifestyle of no regrets.
Yeah.
So you're like, everything. I guess I live with a lifestyle of no regrets too.
Yeah.
Even though I've done a lot of fucking stupid things.
Yeah, me too.
But my philosophy is that I'm very happy where I am right now.
Yeah.
And so everything that led me to this point is something that I can't alter because I'm very happy in the present moment.
Yeah.
Is that what you kind of believe as well?
Yes, is what I believe as well. And also take responsibility. So every time I fuck up, I know it's my fault. It's my responsibility.
Yeah.
So then I just learn from it and then I take responsibility. So I actually prevent that from happening again.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It is a good philosophy. I don't know if I'm that good at it yet, but
But you seem like somebody who takes responsibility. You seem like you were one of the few comedians that turned up to this podcast on time, which means it tells me you're responsible.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I try. But I also live quite, I live at Kjelsås, so it's quite easy to get to your place. It's just a tram.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
So when you're in Oslo, you stay there?
Yeah, at my mom's place.
At your mom's place?
Yes.
Okay, I gotcha. I
Yeah.
gotcha. But in general, you're a responsible person. You're like, you do what you say and you say what you do kind of thing?
I really try to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really try to be.
I think it's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much the foundation of trust. You know what I mean?
Very.
Whenever somebody kind of slides out, it's always like,
Yeah.
you said you would pick me up and then you forgot to pick me up.
Yeah,
And what
yeah,
else are you going to not be reliable on?
Yeah. But I try to be really honest with people as well. If they ask like, oh, hey, do you want to do this? It's like, I don't think I have the energy.
That's a good way to answer it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Or if somebody says, do you want to go to this concert? It's like, I don't have the budget for it.
Yeah.
I have money, but I don't have the budget to go to this concert.
Okay, so you say no and then give a reason.
Yeah, I try to do. And then if they're my friends, they'll understand. And if they don't understand, they're not my friends.
Yeah, I think
easy.
being able to say no is so important.
Yeah.
And a lot of the issues that I've gotten into has been my lack of an ability to say no.
Yes.
And then I've ended up regretting it. And then I've done something that and my
100%.
energy isn't all in.
Yeah.
So being able to say no, it sounds so stupid, but it's like a superpower.
It's like, it is a superpower, I
Yeah.
think. No, but that's the thing. That's why I don't live with regrets, because I'm learning to say no. So then I take a stand instead of being like, oh, yeah, maybe. Okay, I'll text you. Okay, maybe. Blah, blah, blah. And then you end up in a situation where you just maybe used a lot of money to get to somewhere where you didn't want to be even.
Is it hard for you to say no to spots?
It used to be. It's become less hard now.
Yeah.
Because I perform in many languages. So
Yeah, you do. Too
Yeah,
many, by the way.
Too many.
Too many languages. How many languages are you performing in?
4.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy to me. You know, one of the things that, like, when the last time we were talking, you said, oh, I'm in Paris doing comedy in French.
I did.
And I was like, oh, what? I know you do comedy in English, Norwegian, Danish, and now French.
Yeah.
Are you fluent in all of those languages?
No.
But you're fluent in Danish?
I'm fluent in stand-up.
I'm fluent in comedy. That's the only language.
That's my love language. No,
Yeah. Okay, but how good's so French is the weakest?
Yeah, French is the weakest by far. I lived in France for half a year to study, and I had oral exams, and I passed my exams in flying colors. It went really well, and that's also when I started to think, oh, okay, why am I so good at performing orally whilst all my exams were written, like my law exams? So my law exams at law school, I was average, and then I go to France and I do something orally, and then I get really good grades.
Wow.
Started to thinking that maybe it was not because I was bad at law or lazy, but maybe just because I was so much better in something else.
In communicating with your verbal skills.
Yes.
I got you. So the format of the exam had significant impact on the results of your grades.
Yes.
Wow. Because the majority of exams that I've done are all written.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Australia and in Norway, I did a couple of oral exams here. And they were actually for the Norwegian language anyway.
Yeah.
So I get that that's something that you need to test.
Yeah.
But you did an oral exam in law.
Yeah, in French.
In French.
But it was like European law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had the additional struggle of having to translate in your head all of these legal precedences and laws and things like that, and then had to communicate that in French.
Yeah.
And even with those obstacles of different languages, you still performed better than a written exam in your native language.
Oh, yeah. When you put it that way, it's quite sad. But
No, but it's amazing. It's fascinating. It just goes to show like how different, your brain can communicate something.
Yes, very. And then after I started to do stand-up, I was thinking, can I translate jokes in the same manners as I could translate law?
Can you?
Yes, I can. But I think the thing is that I don't necessarily translate. I try to think in that language.
I got you. So your brain switches over to... But do you have any singular joke which you perform across 4 languages?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Wow. How does that go?
It went because I think I now have I think I'm also becoming a better joke writer. So that helps in terms of translating something, because if the joke is better, then it's easier to translate. But I have this one joke I've done in all 4 languages.
Yep.
And it works.
Wow.
Perfect. Yeah.
Do you have to... you obviously have to change the language, but I guess the premise is the same and it works cross-culturally and cross-linguistically.
Yes. It's the joke where I talk to someone in the audience. I ask very politely if I can ask for their name and say it out loud. And they say yes. And then I say the name, thank you. And I say that was a demonstration of consent.
Yeah.
And that joke works in every single language I performed in.
I got
It's
you.
something universal with the consent and the format and the way I ask.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, but maybe I'm trying to think, would there be a culture that doesn't have the same appreciation of consent where it might not work? Right? Like say some,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like say, I guess we're in the right time, so it's such a global concept. But I don't know, like in the Middle East or something like that, or in like with some sheikhs that have just ultimate power, like what's consent?
Okay, if they book me for a stand-up job, I'm sorry, but I'm going to talk about consent.
Yeah, of course.
If that will happen in the future.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it's kind of interesting because like what, you know, like there are jokes that are very particular to the cultural climate and the era that we're in.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but there are also some jokes which are broader, which might be more timeless, but they probably have to deal with bigger concepts that anybody can relate to over time.
Yes.
Like having kids or
something, yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, even the jokes I can do with myself, you know, by talking about dating or talking about being me in the world. I don't know if that would work that well 30 years ago.
No.
Where you didn't think about the sort of underdog or the, yeah. I don't know, but some stuff I think, yeah, maybe some of it would work, but not, because it's also the belief, they have to believe in what I say is true, and I don't know if it would be believable.
No,
like a couple of 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's really interesting how, you know, cultural perception on topics changes, and then comedians are right there. You know what I mean? They're right at the change. They're like right when things are just about to tip over. And now they're playing, maybe before as well, they're playing a significant role in the tipping.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Which is kind
100%.
of crazy. I saw a friend of mine the other day who I haven't seen in like 5 years. And he goes, so how's the comedy going? I go, it's going really good. He goes, you guys are the real truth tellers of today. And I was like, yeah, I guess we kind of are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is a crazy concept to think.
So crazy. But stand-up has become such a popular genre where maybe poetry had that effect before, where people were sitting down listening to poetry, reciting, where it's also, it could be an oral form as well. And then maybe now stand-up has become, it's one of those genres where you don't actually have to have economic support from the state, because you can apply for funds for theater, music and stuff like that. I don't think there's a separate one for stand-up, because people actually buy tickets to see unknown people perform.
Yeah.
Because this genre is so recognized.
Yeah, and it's so accessible.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing a theater performance or something, you need like a black box, and you need all this like people, the stage hands, and the people wearing black running in and changing everything.
Yeah.
It seems like it's, you know, that's what I love about doing stand-up. It's just like, you know, we could put up a speaker with a microphone and then just go for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we've done that like, you know, several times. Like at the corner, for example.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing there. We just bring a speaker and then a little stage, and then bam, 30, 40 people.
Yeah, it's crazy. Such a poor people.
Free entry. Let's go.
Come in. Just yeah. So it's really, and I love doing it in different languages. That's why I do it. It's not because I really like it. I love. And I came back to Denmark after traveling for 3 months, and I did a couple of gigs. And it was so weird how my brain did not work in Danish. I had to have 2 gigs to just think in Danish again on stage.
Yeah.
Because it felt as if I couldn't think and my mouth couldn't pronounce the stuff I was thinking in my head. It was really...
There was like a little lag.
Yeah, it was a little lag, so I had to,
Do you have a language which you prefer doing it in, or which you like, this is the one that this is mine?
No, because I'm based in Denmark and I do it mostly in Danish.
Gotcha.
So I think Danish is my stand-up language for the moment. But if I moved to Norway and I was doing it in Norwegian or to France, then that language would be the language of preference.
Okay, so it's just the one that you're getting the most reps in with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you're in Oslo a lot, right? I mean, I see you around all the time.
Yeah, I was in Oslo for a month, and then now I've stayed here for a couple of days.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And is there much of a difference between this, like the stand-up society and scenes in
It is,
in
yeah.
what's some of the differences between Denmark and Norway?
Yeah, some of the differences. For example, in Denmark, most of the open mics are free.
Yeah.
And it's also the free open mics. You can also see some of Denmark's biggest comedians come and perform.
Okay.
So whereas in Norway you have Latter,
Yeah.
where you have the big comedians, the very famous one, and then you have the RDK, where you have like a mix of both the ones from Latter and up and coming and people in the milieu environment.
Yeah.
People in the stand-up environment, and then you have the free mics where you have a lot of newbies.
Yeah.
Almost exclusively newbies. Whereas in Denmark you would have that mic but with everyone.
Really? So there'd be
Yes.
like a free open mic and you would have just like some absolute killers who are really
Yes.
experienced and somebody who
Yes.
might have been doing stand-up for the first time.
Yes, on the same stage.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's a real diverse mix. So you don't...
Yes.
Okay, and do they announce that the big people are also performing? Like, is that in the lineup?
No.
Or it's a surprise?
No, it's just so so it's usually just the host who has some promo on the event, or it's just like open mic.
Yeah.
And then you get there, and then you don't know who's coming.
Oh, really?
Yes. So it's a surprise.
Wow.
Yeah. But
that's cool.
But also it's free. So
Yeah.
maybe it wouldn't be that fun if you paid 250 kroners and hoped to see a big comedian, and it was just the up and coming ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
But I like a mix of both, actually. I don't know if one is better than the other.
Yeah.
I think in Denmark it's also hard to have people pay 30 kroners just to see a show.
Really?
Like a stand-up show. And that is also, I think maybe, just something between, the 150 and 30 kroners would be a nice prize, and maybe with the student discount.
Yeah.
But it's, but they have that in Norway, actually. So I like the fact that people pay for stand-up in Norway.
Yeah.
And just really hope that, it's allocated also to the comedians. I know there's some expenses to be paid, but
Yeah.
to have it both to the place and to the comedians.
Yeah, I think it's good like that. And is there a place in Denmark, like maybe in Copenhagen, that is the equivalent of Latter?
Yes, Comedy Zoo.
Comedy Zoo?
Yes, but it's quite small compared to Latter.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So how many people can be in the audience?
It can be, I think, between 170, maybe two. No, I think 170 is the limit.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So compared to Latter, it's quite small, but it's very historic. It's a historic place. Everybody wants to perform there.
And they have shows every night? Or
Almost every night, yes.
Yeah, okay. Wow. Have you performed there?
Yes.
And how was the experience there?
It was good. Yeah, I performed there many times.
Okay.
Yeah, because you don't necessarily, if you go to an open mic, you don't get paid.
Oh, so there's
do
they have open mics there
They have
too.
open mics there too. Yeah.
And those are free.
No, it's not free for the audience. The audience have to pay.
Gotcha.
And then the host gets paid.
Yeah.
And then the other ones do it for free.
I understand.
So that's the thing, because you have such a diversity between the comedians, then you have to have a very experienced host.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
It
'cause
makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so at that venue at Comedy Zoo,
Yes.
you have like professional shows with like maybe comedians doing an hour or like the top level
Yeah.
comedians, and then they'll also just go, and here's an open mic night where you get a little bit of everything.
Yes.
Ah, that's cool. Yeah, because I don't think Latter does something like that.
Yeah,
I don't
not
think they
sure.
have an open mic kind of thing. I think like from my experience, like the Latter level is the highest possible level, most professional level of comedians.
Yeah.
That's why like so many people in Norway, work their way up to that stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But there's an open mic. So you could just be like pretty new and get a gig at the Comedy Zoo doing the open mic.
Comedy Zoo. I think I was there after 4 months. I performed there for the first time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to do it, because then once you get more experience, you're so familiar with that stage.
Yes.
So in Oslo, like you could be grinding for, years, and then the first time you get a gig at Latter, it's like, this is my first time standing on this stage.
Yeah,
and it doesn't feel like you've got that home ground advantage kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas at like at Inia, where we've performed together before, it's like, oh yeah, okay, I've been here a bunch. And now this is just a bigger show, but I'm really familiar with everything here.
Yeah, because you start there as an up and coming, and then maybe you will become a headliner.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
And where are you? Like, how long have you been doing comedy for?
2 years.
Yeah. Okay. So you started just during the pandemic?
Yeah, during the pandemic, during the first opening.
Damn.
Yeah.
So was that something that you'd been considering for a while, and then the opportunity just arose? Or how did that happen?
I worked as a volunteer at Café Mellomrommet in Copenhagen, which is one of those free open mics.
Yeah.
Where you can also have the big comedians. It's been there for 10 years now.
Gotcha.
It's my friend Med who runs it, and she's been running it for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I started there as a volunteer. And I didn't understand because I wanted to set up some debates or something. I didn't even know what an open mic was.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, yeah. Okay, so if you want to know how the mic works and stuff like that, just come and we're going to set up a stand-up. And I was like, is it free stand-up? What? And then I went there. I set up the mic, and then comedians came in and they did their stuff. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And that was my first experience with an open mic.
Wow.
And I observed that for 4 or 5 months. And then the pandemic hit. And then I decided that when it opens again, I want to try.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now you're like 100% committed. Now you love it. And you're like, this is something that I really want to do more of.
So it's so hard for me to be 100% committed.
Really?
With anything.
Yeah,
But
okay.
I think it's the closest I've been to really committed to something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And how often are you performing?
I perform maybe try to have like 4 or 5 times a week.
Wow. That sounds so committed. 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah.
That's committed as fuck.
Yeah, but it's also hosting jobs.
Yeah.
So it's a performance, but I don't necessarily have to use new material
Gotcha.
to be a host. And that's also how I can earn some money from it. So yeah, I've been traveling for some time.
Yeah.
I need some money. So I'm doing
sure.
a lot of hosting jobs and getting that experience.
Yeah.
And then when I start to write new material, I try to get the other spots. And then also I can also go outside of Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Just train to Odense for an hour and then get like 10-15 minutes there to perform.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love hosting.
Yeah.
I think it's so much fun.
So much fun. It's it's not doing stand-up
No.
necessarily, no.
What do you think makes a good host in your opinion?
I heard this, I'm not sure if I agree, but I heard that a good host is someone, if it was a good show, nobody remembers you. But if it's a bad show, it's your responsibility.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, no, it's. I think that is a very hard definition of hosting.
First of all, I don't agree that it's the host's role to like not be remembered. Do you know what I mean? What was the first part of that? If it's a good show, nobody remembers you.
Yeah,
like, that's so stupid. Like
then
you're the
you
guy or the person that's on the stage a lot.
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
they remember you?
Yeah, but it's also like you shouldn't take that because you're also making the way for the comedians to do their stuff.
Yeah, I
So-
get it, but like, I mean, like if you're doing a hosting gig, and there's 5 comedians, and you're also a comedian, so there's 6 people on stage.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you be able to fucking remember the person that's on the stage? And if the and then are you supposed to adjust your level like down just to match the comedian so that you become less memorable? It sounds
I don't know.
stupid
Sometimes
to me.
I did one gig where somebody asked me like, "Oh, why did you do material after that other comedian?" Like it was one comedian, he got off on a laugh and an applause, and then I went on and I did some stuff. But it was also like I wanted to have it more clear for the next comedian to come on.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't go on other person's applause.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I could have also just put him on right away.
Yeah.
So it's just the judgment of that because maybe I was stealing some thunder from that laugh. I
don't believe in the stealing
such-
thunder
yeah.
idea either. I feel like this is how I think of it as hosting.
Yeah.
I think of each comedian that comes on gets a clean slate.
Yeah.
And it's up to them to use that clean slate however they want.
Yeah.
And then if they end well and we've got time, then like the host can go on and then like reset the slate, like make sure
Yeah.
people are, feeling good, unify the room,
Yeah.
make sure everybody's like having a good time, make any announcements that you need to make. Oh, we got the discount at the bar
Yeah.
or whatever. And then get them excited for the next comedian.
Yeah.
And then the next comedian comes on, clean
Yeah.
slate. But so, and the second thing that I don't agree with is if it's a bad show, it's your fault as
Yeah.
the host. I don't believe that at all, because you could have a show where comedians who might not be having their best nights.
Yeah.
And it's not your fault that, the headliner was on stage and he forgot his jokes and, you know what I mean? It's not your fault at all. Like, how is that your responsibility to...
I think it's more when you get the mood up again, to get the mood up. And if you're not good enough to get the mood up, so let's say that no comedian ends with a laugh and then you have to go on stage. And if you just put on the next or you don't do anything to try to get the mood up, then
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then people are going to remember you too.
You know.
You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
I disagree with everything with
Yeah.
that statement.
That's what I heard about hosting.
Yeah.
But I think it's also to try to just to be pleasant. I love it when it's a pleasant host that doesn't necessarily do that much material, but just talk to the audience.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen more of that in Norway than I have in Denmark.
Yeah.
In Denmark, it can be, okay, you do, as a host, you do like 15 minutes and then you just put next one on, next one on, next one on. But you can do that if you have a strong lineup. But if you have a lot of newbies,
Yeah.
then it's difficult to just put them on after each other without,
Yeah. I think that like as the host, maybe one of the most important roles that you have is unifying the room.
Yeah.
Is making
Unifying the
sure
room,
that like everybody over here and over there, we're all in this together.
Yes.
Like just making sure that we're all on the same page. We're all having a good time. Let's clap for the next comedian. Just making sure that there's a group unity, which is why I think talking to the people that are in the audience is so important.
So important.
Because then, the guy at this table knows that guy's name and he works in IT and, you know, it's all kind of like, we're in this together.
Yeah.
So it's almost like there's a kind of party going on. And you're just leading the party in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like, hey, we're going to get ready for the next song. Well, let's do it. We're excited.
Like a DJ sort of.
Almost. You're like a social DJ.
Social DJ.
Yeah.
I love doing like clap games and stuff like that.
Oh, what's a clap game?
For example, just part the room in two and then just you clap higher, you clap higher. So that unifying the,
That's cool.
Because you can't do that as the comedian doing a spot, but you can do it as a host.
Yeah. I've seen a few hosts that have not unified the room and who have kind of like sucked a lot of the air out of the room.
Yeah.
Like energy vampire type hosting. And I fucking hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a comedian, and you're like, oh, come on, let it go. Just stop it. Like, I just, you know what I mean? Like, just give me the attention. Let me go. And the audience just isn't into it.
Yeah.
So I think there's like definitely traps as well that you have to 100% avoid.
Yeah.
But I do agree with like the idea that like as the host, you really want to promote the other comedians.
Yes.
You know, so when I did the last hosting job that I did, the bar was like, we're going to try to like, you know, sell beers and stuff like that. And there's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
So I went up and I was just like, you know, when I'm up here, perfect opportunity to go to the bar, great opportunity to go to the toilet. You know, if you see my face, think of peeing.
I say the same thing.
Yeah.
Like go out when I'm on stage, not when there's a comedian on stage. Yeah.
So I think there's like some definite good points about stuff like that.
Yeah, but especially in Denmark when the host is the only one who gets paid. So then you're really there. It's really a job for you, whereas the other ones can, work on their craft. You have to work as a host.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, you know, one of the most inspiring people that I've seen as a host is Pernilla Harland.
She is a good host.
Ooh, and her
So
professionalism. We did the Joke Factory at Salt. And she greeted every single person that came in. We must have sold like 80 tickets or something, 100 tickets.
Good. Yeah.
She greeted them. She took them down to the stairs and she seated them.
Yeah.
And then she went on stage and she fucking murdered. And then she was just great throughout the entire evening.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, the hosting job doesn't necessarily start when the show starts.
No, it's
the hosting job can start when you're greeting people and welcoming them because you're creating the experience from the moment people arrive.
Yes.
And
that's a good good way to start it.
It is. It's a really good way to start it. And so I took that on board with us when we did our comedy tour around Norway.
Yeah.
And then we went to a bunch of venues and we divided, there was like 5 or 6 of us, or 5 of us. And then we divided the roles and we said, okay, you're the welcomer and you're going to take tickets and then you're going to show people to their seats. And it was such a better experience for the audience because they were like, how many people are you? 3? Okay, we recommend you guys sitting here. You love comedy. Got some great spots for you up here. Oh, you guys just want you want a table? There you go. So the people felt like really looked after. And that's what I noticed with what Pernilla did at that Joke Factory at Salt. People really felt like she gave them her attention, you know.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something she picked up from the UK.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So I was listening to a podcast, I think it was Rogan's podcast, and he had these comedians from the UK.
Yeah.
And they were saying that at some gigs, the audience members get stickers that say, talk to me or don't talk to me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, in different colors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think green was like, you can talk to me if you're the host. And then red was, I don't want to be talked to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that kind of
That is
interesting?
very interesting. I want to talk to the audience, but I try to read their faces. But maybe if you don't have that much time, then if you're one of the comedians who also wants to talk to people,
Yeah.
then because as a host, you actually get some time to look them in the face. But if you're just doing a 5-minute spot,
Yeah.
then maybe, you don't have the time to do that.
Yeah, I think they were saying that it's just like really politically kind of charged environment in some of those rooms, and some people they feel like, I don't know, if the comedian addresses them, they get triggered, or they just want to go there and watch a show like it's a movie.
Yeah.
They don't want to be part of the show.
Yeah.
And as the host, I'm like, I guess I'm pretty observant about how engaged people are, and they kind of give me the facial cues that I think, okay, this person wants to interact, or, you can kind of tell. But I was thinking of like adapting the sticker system for like a couple of shows that we got coming up, and
Maybe that's good.
yeah, but maybe doing it like, do you want to get roasted?
Oh,
Yeah. Do you want a roast sticker? Like, you know what I mean? Like, would you want a roast sticker? I did the show in Arendal in the south of Norway.
Yeah.
And these dudes were like, it was a group of buddies. They're sitting in the front row, and they were into it. They loved comedy, and they hadn't seen a show in ages. And they were like, "Oh, you got to roast him. No, you got to roast him. You got to roast him. You got to roast him." And then I was like, "Okay, let's do it." And like the mood was right. It was a wild environment. And then I roasted these guys, a couple of dudes, and they had a great time. And then we had the break, and they're like, "Oh, you got to roast him. You got to roast him." And then I kept roasting them. And then after the show, like 3 or 4 different groups of people came up and said, "Oh, I wish you roasted me. I wanted you to roast me. I was like, I wanted you to roast me." And I was like, "Oh, some people are just in it for the sport. They want to experience like roasting with their buddies." And I've roasted a few people, like all in like obviously good fun. And then afterwards they've come up, and I gave some guy a nickname like Elon Musk or whatever. He looked like Elon Musk. And then later on he came up and goes, "Man, all my friends are going to call me Elon Musk now forever." And like, "Yeah, hey Elon, let's go." So it's like, it's crazy, like the impact that you can have on people as a host in a positive way by doing something like roasting them.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
It's also, there was somebody who told me when I was very new, when I was talking about, I don't have stage fright, but obviously it's a bit intimidating, the first couple of times you try stand up. And then he said, okay, try to think of it as they're not watching you, you're watching them. So in the shift of power, then also we will become more observant, but also it's so much easier. I'm standing talking and I'm watching them.
Yeah.
What are they doing right now?
Yeah.
So I can say that when I'm stage. I was like, "Oh, I love that you two looked at each other," or, and then they realize that, oh, okay, she's also watching us. It's not just a machine doing stand-up. It's someone who can interact.
Yeah. Well, I think the beauty of stand-up as well is breaking the fourth wall.
Yes.
I think like once you just like smash through it and we're in this together. And my view as a host is I'm a part of the crowd. I'm just happen to be standing up on stage.
Yes.
Like I'm one of you guys, and I've just got the mic right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's this like improv term. I did some improv theater for a while, and there's this improv term which I take with me when I'm on stage doing hosting, and it is, don't try to be interesting, try to be interested. And that kind of plays into what you were saying about observing them. Try to be interested in them.
Yes.
And sometimes you can like go down a rabbit hole with the people, with one person or a group of people that is so funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because you're like really interested in like, how did you guys meet? Or this is the first date? Whatever it happens to be,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think paying attention to the audience is necessary. And the flip side of that is when a host just does bits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, you're not like really tuning into the vibe. You're just bits. And when I'm hosting, I don't do as well doing bits as when I do just talking to the crowd.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think also people have a different hosting style, but I like that very much because that's why you go to live stand-up. That's why you don't watch it at home where it's free. You pay to actually get the interactive experience in a way.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah.
I think so, at least.
But it was fun. I did a gig in Denmark and I was talking to someone in the audience and then I was doing that. There was a consent joke. And I was like, "Can I say your name?" And he was like, "No." And I was like, "Oh." Because and I was like, nobody's ever said no to me before. And that sounds so privileged.
Yeah.
But it was fun and then his friends were like crying of laughter. I was like, "Oh, okay, what's up?" And they were like, "Oh, we actually sat in the front." And he said his greatest fear was if was if one of the comedians started to talk to him, and I did exactly that. But that's
funny.
the only time my judgment hasn't been correct.
Yeah.
Because he looked like he wanted me to talk to him.
Yeah.
But then, yeah.
Wow.
That was fun.
So you never learned his name?
I never learned his name because I didn't get a consent
No,
to
you
say
can't.
it. I
You
couldn't.
can't
I
do
couldn't
it.
go after it. It was like that was the meaning of the joke. But that became the joke. But
Yeah.
And also, there was a guy in Paris. I was doing a gig.
Mm.
There weren't that many people, and it was this guy, and he was a bit. He really liked to talk to the comedians mid joke. And then he was like, he wanted to say some stuff. And the comedians were like, okay, but what if you just write down your thoughts and then you can ask us later because you're talking in the middle of the joke. Also, sometimes what he said was funnier. So maybe that was irritating for the comedians.
Yeah.
But then he said something to me in French while I was performing. And I did not understand what he was saying. And then I stopped to try to talk to him. But then it was like, and then I just had to go to the next joke.
Yeah. Jump ship.
Yeah.
Huh. Is there a big stand-up scene in Paris?
It is. Yeah, it is quite big, both in French and in English.
Really?
You can do shows maybe 1 or 2 times every day in Paris.
In English?
In English.
Wow.
Yeah. Because you know what? Berlin and Amsterdam has a reputation of being very international. But Paris is also coming.
Yeah, okay.
With the English scene. So many Americans living there, so many English speaking, and also French who wants to do it in English. So it's a big scene.
Huh. Yeah, I lived in Paris about 20 years ago for 6 months.
Yeah.
And I wasn't into stand-up comedy then, but I definitely got the feeling that there was an American university in Paris.
Yeah.
And I was hanging out there with a bunch of Americans.
Yeah.
And that was really cool.
Yeah.
So now the scene has evolved, or it's kind of grown.
So much.
Yeah.
I have some contacts if you
I'd love to.
ever wanna
I definitely do. I definitely do. You know, like we did this 3-week tour around Norway and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Like we were just like a group of friends with girlfriends and dogs in camper vans just cruising around for 3 weeks, and it was perfect. It was the perfect way to spend a summer holiday.
Sounds so good.
It was great. And then I kept on thinking like, okay, what's next?
And then it's Europe.
It is.
Yeah, and it's also your maternal language. So it's
I have like, you know,
an advantage. Proving a point, an advantage.
But it would be like really fun to, you know, like cruise down from Denmark and then through Germany and then across to Amsterdam and then all around that area.
Paris.
Yeah.
But do you speak Norwegian?
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you perform in Norwegian?
I do.
Yeah, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, it's really good. I have this kind of style when I'm performing for a Norwegian audience. I guess you and I have just mostly performed at
English.
At Joke Factory, right? All English. But a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll do the setup in English and then the punchline in Norwegian.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll really mix it up. Like a lot of my set is, I do an all Norwegian set as well.
Yeah.
But the best results and the most fun is when it's just like this language salad, but just mixing it all up, and then it's great. Yeah. So that's kind of like what I enjoy doing. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Because also, how do you think? Oh, the mix up with languages. Oh, I don't think I could have done that. But that sounds very interesting. But how do you, when you're on stage, how do you think then? Isn't that harder to do the mix up with 2 languages in one setup?
But you know, I have such a mixed up speaking style every day anyway. Like I've got 2 kids and they'll start a sentence in Norwegian and finish it in English, and I'll do the same. And some concepts just seem to work better in particular languages. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you have to go outside, trikken drar om 5 minutter. You know, shit like that. So it's just a natural part of how I talk. And even like when I'm in a working environment, talking to clients or talking to colleagues, it's always just like the same kind of mix mash of language. And you know, like you see like kids that grow up with these, you know, one mom speaks French, the dad speaks Spanish, and then the household language is English. Whatever it is, it's always just like different words and different languages 100%. Getting tossed out all the time. So when I'm on stage, I just kind of that's who I am, and I just naturally channel it. But I started, you know, one of the things, like when I was learning Norwegian, a lot of people were making fun of me because my accent was kind of, you know, like whack, and I would say things wrong, and my friends would always laugh at me, and I would get things wrong, and you know, it was all in like good humor. But then like I started to understand like, oh, the way that you can say something in a foreign language is just naturally funny because of your accent.
Yeah.
Or the way that you have an intonation, or just the fact that an Australian guy is saying a punchline in Norwegian is kind of ridiculous. So I try to channel that.
Oh, that's so fun. My mom, she took Norwegian education in like Norwegian courses, and she said it was a guy who was from Australia actually, and he was saying, she said she had so much fun. They were reading the Karius and Baktus, the book, and then he said like instead of hugget og hakket, he was like hugget og hakket og hugget og hakket.
yeah.
It was just funny the way he pronounced it.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, and another thing that I learned from that as well is like when I'm hanging out with friends and they like, you know, roasting me, or like we're roasting each other, or just having friendly banter. If somebody says something and it kind of like hurts a little bit, then I know it's true, and then I know it's funny. So like when I did this tour last year, we did this same kind of thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, these guys were like making fun of me because I was the oldest one there.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, granddad. And I was like, oh, yeah, I should make jokes about being the oldest one here.
Because you're,
Yeah. And so then we had this one comedian who at the time, I think he was like 20 years old or something.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if I followed him, I would say something like, oh, you know, I'm the oldest comedian. Let's give it up to Felix. He's so young. You know, I think I met him on Epstein's Island. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you could just play into it, into who you really are. And if somebody says something and you feel that, oh, they're onto something, whether you like it or not, then that's a truism. And if it's a truism, you can make a joke out of it.
Yeah.
And it's more funny because people know that it's real.
Yeah.
So that's always been
believable.
It is. And that's why, like, when I'm hanging out with friends, or even my girlfriend, or even the kids, if they say something that's making fun of me, I go, I can make fun of myself on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just invite the bullies to come.
I invite them. Go for it. And I've been teased a lot, sometimes in good nature, sometimes in bad nature. Like Inia is a weird name, right? So you're growing up in Australia in like the 80s and the 90s. People go, they're all called Greg and Rick and Dave. And you got this weird name called Inia, and people are making fun of you. And you go, I can make fun of that. Let me make fun of that too. Yeah. So, I welcome it.
Yeah. You have also been like the Tasmanian devil vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never made jokes about that.
Yeah, and people say, come on, hey, let's go crocodile hunter. I'm like, oh, crocodile hunter. Yeah, that's a big stereotype. I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
How do you get inspiration for jokes?
Oh, that's a good question. I like, because you said you did some improv, right? And I like the thought. I took some courses in improv, and I like the yes and.
Yeah.
And then I also translate like what if. So sometimes I have something happens, and then I think, oh, but what if? And then I just work on it. So as I remember, like I have some topics. Yes, I have some. Sometimes I think, what do I want to say with this joke that I'm never going to say?
Yep.
So sometimes I make a lot of jokes with housing prices. I think they're ridiculous. Yeah. And I also think investors investing in prices, and also looking at the fact that people have usually earned money from war to finance buying housing. So, but that I would never say on stage. I would never say those words on stage. But then I think, which scenario can I use where I can, this is my opinion, but it's camouflaged as a joke.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, and then I say, what if? Okay, what if, I don't have that much money. I can only use, I can't afford a real estate agent. It can only be utleiemegleren. And then, what if you went to a house visiting with your utleiemegler? What if, and build on that.
Okay, so you'll just create what if scenarios that have humor in them.
Yeah, but it's always the setup, or it's always real.
Yeah.
Because then it's easier to think, what if?
Yeah. Okay. So the premise is based in reality, and then you spin it out.
Yeah, premise is always based in reality. Because I want to live a life where the premises are real. Setup can be exaggerated.
Definitely.
But the premise is always real.
Yeah.
In every single joke, actually.
Yeah, I like exaggerating punchlines too.
Yeah.
And I like it when I see comedians that take things to like the most ridiculous level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, oh, you're going there and there. Oh, I thought this was the end. Oh, you got more? Where are we going?
Yeah. So it's a really important thing for me that the premise is real, because that is how I can think. I can't just make a fake premise. I've also seen people who, it's not fake necessarily, but maybe they had a boyfriend and then they broke up. But then in the joke, they still say, with my boyfriend. So if I would have the same scenario, I have a boyfriend. So then if I talk about dating, I say, before I met my boyfriend, I was blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So, but it's very important to me to have that before I met my current boyfriend, because that is the premise.
Yeah.
That is where I am. And then the premise of being single is also real in the past. And then I build the what if from that.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been in that situation before as well, where like I've made jokes about, being in a relationship, and then like I have another joke that just comes to me about like going on Tinder dates.
Yeah.
And people go, wait, I thought weren't you in a relationship? And now you're talking about you going on Tinder date. Wait, there's a disconnect there. And if you fuck up that disconnect by not saying, before when I went on a Tinder date, the audience goes, we kind of see that this isn't all based in truth and reality. You're just trying to say things that are funny that don't connect.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the thing with the fact that if I'm single or not, that has to be true on stage.
Yeah.
But then you can make it fun. It's like, but when I was single, I played Tinder.
Yeah.
And then the use of the verb makes it funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Shit. Now, there's so many different ways to come up with jokes. And, one of the things that I get most inspired by when it's like comedy is just conversations with people.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just talking to people and we're like, got a good tone, and then we're riffing. I go, that's something that would work on stage.
Yeah.
And then, the flip side of that scenario is when I'm just like, okay, I've got a spot that I want to come up with some 5 new minutes like tomorrow or something.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there forced to like think of premises.
Yes.
It's like a whole different kind of like, because I know if I'm having a conversation with a friend and we're both laughing, I'm onto something. I just got to, work out the premise a little bit.
Yeah.
But then just sitting down by myself and going, what in the world is funny?
Yeah.
What's funny? What's funny?
Sometimes I try to have a process of sitting down and writing. I'm so bad at it, but I'm trying to get better. But the thing is that if something is funny, I write a note on my phone.
Yeah.
And then when I sit down, I take up all my notes. It's like, okay, which premise can I work with? And then I start to write.
Yeah.
But then I sit down and put a timer on. Okay, I'm going to write for 20 minutes. And then I sit and write.
Gotcha.
And even that is hard. Just 20 minutes.
Are you constantly writing in that 20 minutes? Just like free form thinking, writing? Or are you going, set up punchline?
It is, it's hard because it's so new.
Yeah.
This process is very new. But I try to write. No, I do the second one, the latter, where you set up punchline maybe and change some stuff. But I'm always working with the stand-up. I don't go on the World Wide Web or something. I'm just on that document for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then if I need some more information, I just put it as a comment or something. Check out something about, I don't know, utleiemegleren. And then I just write that so I can do it when the 20 minutes are done.
I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So I try to have the 20, but my concentration is bad.
Yeah.
Is really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hard.
I write the same jokes in different ways. I try to be like, okay, this is the joke. How can you do that 3 different ways?
Yeah.
And then
that's interesting.
Yeah. So that's something that I try to work on. And I go, okay, and let's say it's a topic like whatever, like real estate prices or something.
Yeah.
Then I'll be like, okay, here is let's just say here's one setup and punchline.
Yeah.
But can I do the same premise with a different setup and punchline that makes the same point?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just try to challenge myself to get different perspectives. And so sometimes I'll try to like get, let's say it's somebody selling real estate and somebody buying real estate.
Yeah.
Then I'll try to put the perspective from the real estate agent's side, and then I'll try to put the perspective from the person who's selling side, and see whether I can get something out of it, because later I could say, and then the real estate must be thinking, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to like try to get as much money out of this as possible. And then the other, like just to try to like paint a broad of a picture as possible from different people's perspectives. And then I can like slash a perspective or draw on it a little bit later.
Okay, so you change perspective from the I in the situation to being kind of an omnipotent sort of third person describing a relationship between two people.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
That's very interesting.
Because then I could slide into different characters on stage.
Okay.
So then I could be like, well, check out this bathroom. All of it. You know what I mean? I can act things out from their point of view. If I wanted to. Because that's one of the things that like I admire in a lot of comedians is their ability to perform different roles. Like even having conversations with themselves.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, he said the bathroom was clean. But the bathroom was whatever it is, you know, like just switching it up like that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, you know, from my experience with improv, like being able to just switch into different characters and be so believable and doing object work, you know what I mean? Like just stuff like that can be really funny. And it all just is different tools to paint a picture as detailed as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
That is really interesting. I hadn't thought about it, but it's a really good exercise for just seeing stuff from different perspective. Because maybe because I would naturally be like the one who's renting, not the landlord, but actually one could make a really funny joke from the landlord's perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you don't write from that perspective, it's harder to
see it.
Yeah.
Here's an example. You know the story about that walrus Freya?
Yeah.
Her perspective. You know what I mean? Like she's just, look at this nice boat. I'm going to just catch some waves and I didn't have to work for this. And let me order some champagne whilst I'm here. Like, so like seeing different perspectives from characters who don't have voices as well is something that I think is really interesting to communicate humor to an audience. You know what I mean? Like, oh, so what's that man doing with the gun? Why is he pointing it at me? you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like that's one thing that I like to do because I mean this is like I think that like different perspectives is what makes comedy great.
Yeah.
And that's why when you go and do a show with so many different comedians, you get so many different perspectives. And I really enjoy experiencing that. Yeah.
With someone who has done the research. It's really, because sometimes you can get a perspective for someone who's like, do you know these people even? But if you do the research while writing the joke, you have to,
And that's what I love the research part. You know what I mean? Like you could explore a topic, you can be like, oh, what they did that? That's crazy. Why did they do that? Oh, they did that because they would make more money.
Yeah. Oh, that I really have a premise. That I think is really funny, but I haven't worked with it. But actually, with the perspective, I think I can work with it.
Yeah.
Because it's because at the graveyard in Paris, Père Lachaise, it's so expensive. Like people buy spots for the graveyard, like 50 years in advance.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then there's this woman who has a gravestone. But she's not dead yet, so she comes and wash it like 2 times a week.
No! No!
And I was thinking, like, okay, maybe I can do it from her perspective, actually, because she's on Instagram and everything is crazy, and I was like, I'm dying to make that joke, but I haven't gotten the inspiration yet. I haven't sat down with that premise, and just how am I describing that rent in Paris is so expensive? You're even paying for it before, like, for your death. It's just
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful, but I haven't gotten the right.
No shit. So that's what she does.
She does.
She's got a headstone that's not.
Oh, it's a statue.
Oh, she got a statue. She's going all in.
She's going all in. I love it.
What's it a statue of?
Of her.
No, she's got a statue of herself.
Yes. And the thing with Père Lachaise is like you pay for it, and then when you die, you stay there for 100 years unless you're famous. Then you can stay there for the rest of eternity. It's sort of you want to be there to not be forgotten, right?
Yeah.
But like it seems as if she uses more time polishing her grave, the gravestone, than to actually become famous.
Yeah, but we're talking about her.
Yeah.
So maybe it's working.
Yeah, maybe it's working. That's
Holy
it.
shit.
It's Inception. It's really crazy.
That's meta as fuck. She's getting famous by doing the thing that she wants to be famous for to stay there for longer than 100 years.
Yes.
And she's got an Instagram account.
Yeah.
That's how you know about her?
No, because we went to the graveyard, and then it was this guy who just jumped out of a bush. He was like, I'm going to show you the graveyard. And we were like, okay. We understood that he wanted some money for it.
Yeah.
But we were walking around, and he was like pointing at that grave, and she's like, oh, that woman there. She's not even dead yet. She comes 2 times a week to wash it.
Holy
Don't even walk
shit.
further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many ridiculous people in this world.
But it's like with that, I can kind of understand the fact that you're a bit afraid of dying and being forgotten. But the thing is that it's a weird way to make the impact of,
Yeah.
I want to have an impact so my gravestone statue would be there
Yeah.
for eternity.
Yeah.
So-
I don't get the being afraid of getting forgotten thing. It's like you're alive now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? You're not forgotten now.
No,
Like
the
just to
thing-
call somebody that you love and to have dinner with them.
You will always live in the memories of the people who loves you.
And even they're going to die. And in a generation or two, your grandkids are going to like, oh, I remember grandma. She was this nice lady that made me cookies. And then when they're dead, that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not going to get remembered forever. Maybe like people are like, you know, oh yeah, you did some YouTube videos or this and that. But it's like,
But that's the beauty of the now.
yeah, exactly.
And it's such the beauty of the stand-up as well. It's right now is what you do on stage. It's really doing stand-up in different languages makes the fact that you can go to different scenes, you can do more stand-up and actually have the more nows in different languages. That's what I love about it. That's why I do it.
Yeah, definitely. I got this coin that I carry with me every day that says I think it's on one side it's Latin and it says memento mori.
Yeah, remember you're going to die.
Exactly. And then the other side it says you could leave Earth at any moment or something. You could leave life right now.
Yeah.
That's how they translated it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then I'm like, yeah, you could leave life right now. Or you could whatever. So
Yeah.
just make the most out of whatever now is.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's such an important perspective to keep in mind because like that woman or people who are afraid of getting forgotten, they're not taking advantage of the moments that they have right now.
No, that's it.
Yeah. Are you a religious person or a spiritual person?
No.
Not at all? A little something?
No, I'm not.
No.
But I respect everybody who is. I respect religion. I respect spirituality, but I'm not touched myself.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of thoughts about the afterlife or any kind of, what do you think is so?
I think, I don't know, I think being dead is the same as being unborn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah. But it wasn't a bad time before I was born, so I guess.
It's pretty boring actually. It's like fucking just hanging out in the place between worlds, just waiting for to be reincarnated.
As an egg.
Yeah.
Reincarnation is interesting,
isn't it?
It is very interesting. That is, I feel more secure of the theory of reincarnation than heaven.
What version of reincarnation are you
The
leaning?
Hindu version must be, but it's also like I can't. Okay, but you can actually. Oh, is that Buddhism where it's nirvana? Yeah, maybe that's Hinduism as well. I'm not. There's a long time.
Buddhism and Hinduism, I believe, both share the version
nirvana,
of
yeah.
And
although Buddhism is a much more the eight wheel, like they have a more. Oof,
because there's
my mother is Hindu. Like I did a Hindu puja yesterday.
What's a Hindu puja?
Like I was holding it. We were throwing flowers at some statues of God that she has in a bedroom.
Okay.
So I respect it. But
so that's a form of worship.
Yeah. And I was holding like a gold necklace, and we were like making it holy. I don't quite know what I was. So she was like, "You can't eat meat today, and you have to hold this necklace in front of the pictures of gods."
Okay.
And then we did that, and she was like, "Oh, we're gonna throw some flowers at them." And I threw some flowers, and I got like the thing in the pichu, the red spot.
What does that mean? The red spot. What does it symbolize?
Symbolize. I've heard different stuff. Like the black or the red symbolizes if you're married or not.
Yeah.
But then the red one that she gave me, I think it's just the fact that you've done some holy ritual. But now I'm not sure. I'm sorry to all my Hindu fans out there.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah.
Because there's two versions of reincarnation that I've been exposed to.
Yeah.
The one version is that you're going to get reincarnated based on your karma into a different life form. So if you're a good person, I don't know, you come back as like a human to a happy family or something like that. And if you're a piece of shit, you come back as like a fucking, whatever, a cockroach or something.
Yeah.
And then there's another version that is you're going to come back and live the same life until you get that life perfect.
Oh.
Yeah. And the second one fucks with me.
But the second one, is that based on religion or is it more of a outstanding theory outside of the 5 religions?
I think it's a strand of Hinduism or Buddhism.
Okay.
I think within that religion, there's this philosophical concept. And that's the one that I think, if it's true, what am I doing in this life so that this is the last one? And how can I get this one perfect?
Do you think stand-up has made that perfect?
Yeah.
Or do you think you're back to
so.
zero?
No. I think it made it perfect.
Yeah,
like
this time.
I think so. And it always fucks with me a little bit because it helps me do things that I think I should be doing. And if I don't want to do something but I think I should be doing, I go, maybe this is the point where you have to come back because of this one decision.
No.
Yeah.
But I think actually you learn to say no. It's more of the way to get to the final stage.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too, especially the things that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
But the things, but I'm also torn on that as well a little bit because I don't always want to go to the gym. You know what I mean? I don't always want to like spend an hour riding, whatever it is. And then I go, but even though you don't want to do it, you know that it's something that's good for you to do. Is this one of those things where, you know what I mean? And you can't spend too much time deliberating on stuff like this.
Okay.
But I often think of what is the most flourishing version of this life that I can live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wait, okay, in regards with the gym question, is it more of a you should go to the gym, or can you say, okay, I don't want to go to the gym, but I should move, so I go for a walk for an hour?
Yeah, I think...
And listen to a podcast, for example.
Yeah, I think there's some variations on it.
Yeah, so even if you feel as if you should do something, it should be more of a, like the alternate ways of having the same goal.
Yeah, I think that's a part of it, but also I think, like, say for example, if I have the goal of training each body part twice a week, then I go, I don't feel like training that body part this week, and going for a walk isn't quite the same as doing what I wanted to set my mind to.
We should walk in squats then.
Yeah, I was just squatting in the park with my dog. Come here, buddy. I'm going to feed you some more food so you're heavier.
But you and him squat down to take a dump.
That's like, Dad, not in front of me. I'm embarrassed. Yeah. Are you familiar with the concept of eudaimonia?
No.
I think it was Aristotle who answered this question on what makes a good life. And then he came up with this concept of eudaimonia like 2,000 years ago.
Okay.
And the concept is like, it's not just pleasure based. You shouldn't just do things that you're, find pleasure in, because, you could just end up fucking playing video games all day.
Yeah.
But his idea of eudaimonia is like living this flourishing, well-balanced, happy life that involves you expressing yourself to your full potential in all of the areas that create balance.
Oh, yeah.
So like if you're in a relationship and you're like pursuing stand-up, it might not be a flourishing life if you're just focusing all on the stand-up and then your relationship turns to shit.
Yeah.
Like you really have to try to express yourself in all areas of your life to create this flourishing eudaimonia balance.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
That's what we talked about a bit earlier when I said I listened to a podcast with Jerry Seinfeld.
Yes.
And talking about the fact that some comedians think that, or some bookers think that comedians should be these broken people who don't know how to manage and stuff like that. Whereas he did not get the full... He didn't get the respect of Mitzi in a Comedy Store in LA due to the fact that he wasn't broken. So he didn't fit in with the misfits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a narrow perspective to have on what a performer should be, though.
Yeah. But also, I also think that, bookers have that, this is our sort of vibe. This is what we earn money on. So we should, also think it's a narrow perspective.
Yeah.
But I can also understand a booker where, she has a comedy place and it's with these type of people. It's this type of... Yeah, stand-up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also actually talked to a guy in Paris. He came from New York, and he had been a regular performer at the Comedy Store in LA.
Nice.
And he did it for some time, and then he said, it was fun, but the thing is that if I continue, I think my stand-up was going to be in a certain way.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that there's one person judging, there's one person, and, people copying... Yeah. Maybe subconsciously as well, the themes you choose, and then suddenly you become this. Okay, this is the stand-up comedian. You have to be a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of traps out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For me, I just want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I
too.
mean? I want to make sure that the audience has a good time and that
Yeah.
everybody's happy and that, you know, the
Yeah.
bookers are happy and people are buying tickets and, you know, buying beers
100%.
and having fun.
Yeah.
But it's like one of the reasons that I got into stand-up was because I wanted to express myself.
Yeah.
I wanted to, like, I had thoughts and things that I believed in and perspectives that
Yeah.
I wanted to share. And I actually, you know, like on the flip side of that, I know a lot of, I have several friends
Yeah.
that are constantly trying to shove opinions down your throat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you should just go up on stage and tell this, because I
Yeah.
can see that you have so much stuff that you're frustrated about getting out.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're trying to just squeeze it into this dinner. And this isn't really the right format for that.
No.
Like, we're all just trying to, like, have a good time. And your views on fucking this or that, it's like, this isn't the perfect opportunity for a monologue.
No.
But if you have a monologue in you,
Get it out.
get
there.
it out.
Yeah.
Like, let's hear it. Let's go for it. Make it funny. Don't make it funny. Whatever you want to do. But like, it must be frustrating for a lot of people, and I know it is for these particular people,
Yeah.
that they just really want to get their views out there, but they don't have the, I guess it's the confidence or you know what I mean, to like stand up on a stage and like want to formulate it in front of an audience. But that's really what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know what inspired me to do stand-up. I just thought it was so fun with the live version in contrast to the ones I've seen on Netflix, which I loved, but it was not the same as seeing it live. And I thought that would be fun to do.
Yeah.
I've
And
never,
and it is the fun. It's the most fun.
It's the most fun. I've never felt that anybody has, that I haven't had an outlet to speak. And it was more the fact that I love the art of the stand-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that they did the setup punchline. They said something and then they said something totally different. And the element of surprise, I love that.
You have to have the element of surprise.
Yes.
That's like 90% of where the joke is.
Yeah. 100%. So, but I think it was really fun when I found it and started to do it. Not necessarily because after some time I felt as if I had something to say. In the beginning it was more how to understand the art, that craft of it, how to make a joke. And then after some time, I could translate that into, okay, what are my opinions and put them on stage as well.
Yeah.
But camouflaged as jokes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I experience the same thing as you when I'm watching comedy specials, unless I watch it with a group of friends.
Yeah.
Then it's so much better.
So much better.
So much better, because then we've got an audience. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, that was cool.
Yeah.
That makes such a difference. When I'm trying to watch a comedy special by myself, even though it's good, I'm just not as engaged.
No.
You know, I'm not as like there. And I guess that's what having, you know, buddies when you're watching something does. It just creates that live dynamic a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I found like I need at least 2 people with me
when you
to
watch
watch
a
it.
stand-up special. Yeah.
Yeah, and I watch stand-up specials with my girlfriend as well.
Yeah.
And it's nice. It's better than watching it by myself.
Yeah.
But watching them with comedians is the best.
You like watching stand-up with comedians?
Yeah. I mean, what's better than that? I mean, hanging out with comedians is amazing. You know, especially the people that you love.
Yeah.
And then you're watching the thing that they all want to get better at by somebody who's really good at it enough to get a Netflix special or something.
It's so true. It's so funny how yesterday when we were at Josefines, we were, you know, the audience were in the room and then the comedians were just in the back. And sometimes you could hear that. And it was very warm inside the room. And I think they also heard some sounds from outside. So I think maybe for some people it was harder to understand, but as a comedian it's easy, you know, you can listen and how is the joke and how is a good joke. It's so funny how sometimes, you know, the audience didn't laugh, but you could hear the comedians in the back were laughing. It's like, oh, we got that. That was a good one.
Nice.
Yeah.
How like tailored do you make your jokes for an audience? Like, say, for example, if like that example from last night, the comedians got something, maybe it was a reference or something like that. Do you try to like make something so that the biggest amount of people can understand? Or
Oh, that's interesting. This was okay. So I was sometimes I've started with the opener where I speak Danish and then I say no, but I'm from Oslo.
Yeah.
Because I perform mostly in Danish. I've done that a couple of times here in Oslo, and this time I wanted to do something new. And actually, the host introduced me as, she usually performs in Denmark, but now she's in Oslo. And then I went on stage and I was like, okay, no worries, I'm going to do it in Norwegian. And then they started to laugh of that. And how I did was I just did some more general stuff. Just, I actually translated the most of the material I did yesterday was translated from different languages into Norwegian, which was also kind of, so it was set that I knew by heart, but in a different language. So doing it in Norwegian was actually quite hard because in my head it was in English, but I translated it beforehand.
yeah.
But that was also kind of a general one where, I'd make fun of my name. I, make fun of my mom and my dad. And then I do some real estate stuff. And then I circle back to my mom and dad.
Yeah, okay.
It wasn't tailored for the audience.
No.
But it was more a general one. But
Yeah.
if I go to north of Denmark, for example, I might tailor my jokes. I don't think I tailor my jokes that much.
No.
But it's more of the, maybe I'll leave, the real estate, my thoughts around marriage. Maybe I'll just leave them in Copenhagen and then maybe not take them on stage in Denmark. No, in north of Denmark.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
In Jutland.
Yeah, because I've been trying to sometimes I'll make some real obscure references.
Yeah.
And 90% of the audience won't get it.
Yeah.
But two
It's
dudes.
so fun. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Two Star Wars nerds.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh yeah, sick reference, bro.
Were you at the Joke Factory when Kara was there? It's this girl from Ireland.
No.
Because she did Essex, and then it was too like, woo, and just like,
Yes.
you're from Essex, and it's like, yeah, and then they started to do the Essex accent because that was a joke for Essex people. I don't know if that's the political correct term, but yeah.
Yeah.
So that was fun where she's like, oh, those two, she got those two.
Perfect.
But then the audience started to laugh as well because they understood that they had something
Yeah.
that we don't understand because we're not from Essex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that. I got a bunch of jokes like that I have
Yeah.
pretty relatively obscure references.
Yeah.
But I just want to keep them in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For the few people that get it, you know,
Yeah.
and I like doing that. And I think the audience, maybe they missed that one,
Yeah.
but it's okay. I got more for you guys.
Oh, speaking of tailoring jokes, obviously I do it for different languages.
Yeah.
That is a very
of course.
yeah.
You have to, right?
Yeah, I have to do it. So
Yeah.
that maybe that's where I work with the tailoring. It's more of the where am I country wise, language wise,
Yeah.
than how than the specific audience in the specific room.
Yeah.
But doing English stand up in Norway and
Yeah, I see.
yeah.
Yeah, because if you're doing a joke about like maybe a suburb in Oslo,
Yeah.
then when you go to Copenhagen, you're going to make it a suburb in Copenhagen.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
actually did that. I was describing, stereotypes of guys I used to date.
Yeah.
And then I was saying like three unfinished bachelors from, and then in Denmark it was Roskilde University, and then in Norway it was Blindern.
Yeah.
Obviously, I had to tailor that to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh, nice.
So that's.
I think that was my phone.
Yeah, I think it was your phone.
Very
Blinging.
unprofessional of me. To
Yeah. So
leave
what
that.
are you doing?
I'm gonna turn that off. My bad.
You're so popular. Just getting messages like, oh no, sorry, I'm too important for this podcast with my name on it.
Yeah, I just had a quick look. It was my friend. It's like, hey man, you gonna come and train jiu-jitsu at 1:30? I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
no, I don't
that's
think
not
so. No, I'm not gonna make that one.
Oh, I want to say something
Yep, go ahead.
regarding doing stand up in different languages, and
Yeah.
it doesn't because it doesn't have to be. I think this is my theory. It's not based on anything that is scientific at all. But my theory with doing stand up in different languages is also the relationship you have with that language.
Okay.
So why do you speak this language? It's kind of the thing I think about when I go on. That makes me want to do stand up in that language. So
Yeah. Go ahead.
so every time I do stand up in a different language, it has to be a language where I don't only read it, but it has to be a language where I speak with it with friends.
Yeah.
So it's a language where I have a goal to be funny in it without the stage.
Gotcha.
So every single language I do stand up in is a language where I express joy and love.
Okay.
Because some people, if you just learn Norwegian just to fill out the forms and talk with colleagues and be professional, for me at least, it would be harder to do stand up in that language.
Yeah.
Because your connotation with that language is, oh, that is the language I use to communicate professionalism.
Yeah.
So how can I be funny in it?
Yeah.
So with English, for example, I speak English with most of my family who doesn't live in Norway, and then with Danish, I just learned Danish so they would understand me.
Gotcha.
My colleagues, and then French was just fun because I wanted to learn it.
Yeah, I would have thought that if you spoke any language and you were naturally funny or had an inclination towards humor, that you would transfer your personality into that language regardless of...
But I think that's it. It's maybe harder to translate your personality into language, which
Definitely.
you just have learned just to fill out some forms.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it would be hard for me. I don't speak that much Tamil, but
I see.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it would be hard for me to do. Okay, also because I don't speak it that much, but it would be hard for me to do stand up in that language. Because what is my relationship with that language?
I bet you'd nail it though.
Oh, thank you.
Don't you think?
No, I don't. I barely speak it. Like it's,
okay. So it's pretty fundamental.
Pretty fundamental. I couldn't do that.
Okay, so your comprehension of the Tamil language isn't advanced enough to start crafting jokes.
Yeah. But if I lived in Sri Lanka or like Tamil Nadu in India for a while and got some French and friends and then learned how to speak Tamil from the amicable relationship, then I think I could have performed in Tamil as well.
So you're from Sri Lanka?
Yeah. Or I'm from, my parents are from Sri Lanka.
Didn't Sri Lanka go bankrupt like 3 months ago?
Yes, that was but now it's better. My mom is traveling to Sri Lanka next week, actually.
Okay.
So hopefully it's better. But that was the picture who went worldwide, where you see people who demonstrated and then they jumped into the pool.
Yeah. Like, let's go swimming.
It's like, I would 100% do that if I was storming I was almost saying storming Capitol, but yeah, if I were storming some buildings, I would take a swim
turn
in
into
the
a pool party. Swim in the president's pool.
Yeah, gonna pee in the president's pool. That's
that's
what I'm
it.
into.
Yeah, okay, because I don't know, like didn't like they declare that they're bankrupt, they can't pay their debts, and
so
the whole
things.
It's basically economic collapse.
Yeah, and also so much of the economy was based on tourism. So when Corona hit, it was crazy.
And tourism also took a hit with that terrorist attack in 2018 or 2019.
Yeah, it did.
You know, that was a crazy one because one of the dude's families that died in the attacking was one of Danish's wealthiest men.
Lost 3 out of 4 children.
Oh, that's so fucked up.
I don't think there's any money in the world to...
Nah, not at all. I think, was it maybe the W Hotel? It was a hotel.
It was close to it, yeah.
Yeah,
because it was an attack on a church during Easter.
Yeah, so then if that was in 2019, I'm sure tourism took a hit then.
Yeah,
and then in 2020, 2021, nobody's going anywhere.
There's a lot of theories regarding that attack and why, and the president, the one who's now fled. Yeah. There's a lot of theories around
He fled?
He had to flee after they stormed the building.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm quite sure he fled.
So he's like in Switzerland or something.
Rajapaksa and his brother.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because that's healthy where you have a president and then the prime minister is the brother. That
is that the setup?
Such a nepotist.
Okay. So there's a lot of corruption there then.
Yes.
Okay, so it's that's fucked.
Yeah.
What are some of the theories then?
The one theory I read, it was in a Danish newspaper, and I read that they knew about the attack, but then they didn't want to stop it because there was some Indians who worked in this Indian CIA, I think, sent the message that this would happen and the names of it, but they didn't want to stop it because at that time the opposition was in lead, and then Rajapaksa wanted to go into power. So, but he would have, we're bringing safety to the country. I don't know if this is true. It's just a theory I read in a Danish, but it's a legit Danish newspaper who wrote this because the Pope also wanted this to be examined due to the fact that it was a Catholic church. Yeah. So, but this is a theory, and I don't know if it's true. Just to clarify, but it's. And all these sort of factors melting into one boiling pot of then becoming bankrupt. But I think it's been bad management for many years. But then, with having a budget that in the future we will earn this money. And then obviously it didn't because of the pandemic. Yeah. Yeah. And the attack.
When it comes to people acquiring power, I'm never surprised by things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's such an addictive feeling in human nature to get the leadership. And if this happens to go that way, and then people end up making terrible decisions just to advance their own position.
And it's so crazy just in Norway now, where we've had these cases with the tax-free apartments. And also, what was the newest one where the Norwegian, the ones who were taken and said you've done something that is not allowed, they got free access to a shrink, and then people who was in jail wrongfully would not get the same access to that. And you're just sitting there thinking, like, what is wrong with the society, or how many goods? Because they're sitting. There's a committee in the government who just sits there and they're like, oh yeah, no, the legislative organ. Yeah. They're sitting there and like, oh yeah, we can make the rules of the benefits you can have as a politician. Yeah. But it's so funny to see that now, because Norway is considered one of the richest country in the world per capita. Yeah. And then people say we don't have the money to buy, electricity, food in one of the richest countries in the world. And then you have to stop and think, like, okay, what are we doing right now? Yeah. Who's in charge? Yeah.
And why are they making the decisions that they're making? Why are you prioritizing giving mental health care to politicians who are scamming the system and not to people who are victims of the system?
Yeah, it's so crazy.
It's stupid.
I think also we've come to a time where we see some investors buying property, and I think that you should have, votes if they buy so much property that they're changing the whole city, the picture of the city. Yeah. You should just have a vote. Can they do that? Yeah. Can they acquire this? What are you going to do? What are you going to do with the city by buying, apartments close to a coastline? Yeah. And then privatizing it. So something that was public before will now be privatized, and the people has nothing to say with it. Yeah. They can't. Yeah. Yeah.
It's fucked up.
It's fucked up.
Like one of the things, and it's kind of like that, but maybe it's a bit different, and I'm not understanding the system properly, but there's like in all of these developed parts of town, they have this private parking system. Yeah. So instead of like parking and then you pay to the government, like you have to pay to this parking company, and it's so much more expensive. Yeah. And you don't get the same benefits as an electrical car driver. And I go, like, say up around Newdalen, for example. Yeah. I'm like, why the fuck is this street not... how did they end up passing that where now it's all private parking? Yeah. And I guess it's something to do with the developers. Yeah. They develop this, and then, okay, you get the parking thrown in.
Yeah. And then they get some deals through, and then... Yeah. It's so corrupt.
It is. I just think that's human nature. And I would think that, like, in Norway, it's better than it is in Sri Lanka, but it's still fucked. Yeah. Yeah.
It's so fucked.
I was talking to this dude the other day about Sri Lanka, actually, because I visited in 2018, loved it, had a great family vacation, a lot of surfing, experiencing the culture. So nice. It was really nice. Yeah.
Sri Lanka is also quite close to Australia. Did you go there?
No, it was just an Easter trip. But my mum came from Australia. My family from Australia came.
You just met up in Sri Lanka.
And we did. So I flew down with my daughter. They flew up from Australia, and it was like a good middle point. Yeah. And one of the things that this guy was saying was that the harbour that they were building was... or they just built was like Chinese funded, and that if they default on their payments, then the harbor gets owned by China. And now they defaulted on their payments. So now that harbor goes to China. And China are doing a lot of stuff like this all around the world, like especially in Africa with highways and harbors and controlling ports, and what gets into a country now
is like
under Chinese control.
It's colonism. It's nothing short, but it's more hidden. Yeah. It's not dividing it with a pencil on a continent, but it's still colonism.
It is. It's economic. It's like, you ever hear of that book or read it, like Confessions of an Economic Hitman?
No, I haven't, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah, it was basically like they would do that. They would give countries huge loans that they would probably never pay back with the interest rates, and then they would basically own them. And then America would like put in military bases or make sure that they passed particular laws. And it just feels like with Chinese expansionism globally across the world, that they're doing things like that, like with the harbor in Sri Lanka and with the highways and the harbors in Kenya and across Africa.
Yeah. And then ask the question, why are these countries in debt? They never were able to actually develop something in their own country due to the old colonism. And now there's a new colonism. So... Yeah.
So colonialism is such a dirty thing. Like, it's so dirty. Like the country that I come from is a colony.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they just,
Yeah.
the English went in and they just fucking
Yeah.
literally committed genocide across Australia.
Yeah.
And then, this is just, they plant the flag and then this is England. And they had this concept called terra nullius, which means no man's land.
No man's land.
So what they would do is they would just like basically say, there's some natives that are living here, but they don't own property. There's no concept of property ownership across a like hunter-gatherer society. And so they would just go, well, these guys don't own property. I guess we'll just own it then. And then they just take over an entire country.
Yeah.
And that's what they did in Australia. Just
Yeah.
wiped out literally like 99% of the indigenous population.
Yeah.
And then now we've got a new continent.
So crazy.
Isn't it?
It's so crazy. And it's so funny how you can kind of, you saw it and think, oh, that was in the past. And then you see how the world works now.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not in the past.
No.
It's happening right now, but it's in smaller scales. It's like big companies buying apartments. Thinking,
Yes.
oh, yeah, that's not. But no, but thinking of it
Yeah.
in that manner, that if you're as a person with an honest job, working as a teacher, or two teachers working together, you can't buy property in Oslo.
No.
That is the reality
It
right
is.
now.
A friend of mine was in the newspaper because he inherited his family home and he got this house worth 32 million kroners or something. And then he said, I couldn't afford to buy anything by myself. And then they published this study that said that a nurse on a nurse's salary working full time can afford to buy less than 2% of all the real estate in Oslo. That's what you can afford.
It's crazy.
Isn't it?
And it's crazy with especially nurses working those hours, having maybe have to be close to the hospital. Also, all the stuff that does to your body, running around, helping people. And it's very physical work. And then they have to travel 1.5 hours to go to Drammen or to Lillestrøm.
Yeah.
Just because that's where they can afford to buy property.
Yeah.
Which is those people should live in the city.
They should.
Not politicians. I'm sorry.
No.
Politicians live outside of Oslo. You just commute.
Yeah.
With your limo. I don't know. It's
And the thing is about being a nurse, my girlfriend's a nurse.
Yeah.
It's not just physically demanding, it's emotionally
Yeah.
and mentally
Yes, of course. Yeah.
destroying. Like so many nurses get burned out, my girlfriend included, and COVID didn't do them any favors.
No.
And
It's like, oh, we clap for you.
yeah, you're our heroes. Yay. Yeah. And like the amount of people that have to get sick leave because of mental stress and their nervous system is just redlined and they're just fried. And my girlfriend works in the ICU. So if you ever end up meeting my girlfriend at work, it is like the worst day of your life. Literally. Like you are very close to death. So she's like caring for these people who have significant issues health-wise. And a lot of nurses, I think, are people with a lot of empathy,
I think
traditionally
so as
like a
well,
lot of women, and it's impossible for them not to absorb that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I really believe in this, like the concept of mirror neurons, like where you kind of like, if I watch a video of a guy getting kicked in the balls, like my balls hurt, I go, oh, or you see somebody having an accident, you go, oh, that's a mirror neuron. Like you're absorbing a certain amount of the experience of the person that you're watching.
Okay, I didn't know that was the name of it.
Yeah, super cool concept.
Yeah.
But your mirror neurons as a nurse with a high degree of empathy must just be absorbing constant and relentless, continuous amounts of pain in perpetuity.
Yeah.
And there's only a certain amount of that you can absorb before your nervous system and your mental health just deteriorates to a point where you can no longer function properly.
Oh.
And add to that, nurses working night shifts,
Yes.
starting at 10 at night and then finishing at 8 p.m. Doing that, 4 or 5 times every 2 weeks or a month or whatever it is, however many they get rostered, that shit is a recipe for basically, causing mental breakdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, and physical breakdown as well, because turning those night shifts around takes a couple of days, and your circadian rhythm is so fucked up.
Yeah.
So it's a travesty that people that perform the most essential caregiving, life affirming, helping positions can't even afford to live at the place where they're providing this invaluable service. Like it's insane, to me. Yeah.
Really insane. My dad's a nurse, actually.
Is he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I met your dad.
Yeah.
I met your dad.
That is one of the things of performing in Oslo.
Yeah.
My whole family shows up.
Yeah. He was a good sport.
Yeah, he's a good sport.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was the one time where he had to go to work, so he had to leave before I performed.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I was like, oh, my dad left. Well, I used to as a joke, though, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one time.
I just noticed that something fell down behind you. Maybe, yeah. Well, you know what? Have a look up there to your right.
It's my...
No, it's not you. It's this.
That one?
Yeah, that goofy.
Oh, should I put it up?
Could you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You put it up, and I'll just talk to everybody about how awesome your dad was. Yeah. There you go. Problem solved. Yeah. So your dad's a nurse, huh?
Yes.
And he came from Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
80s.
All right. Was he a nurse in Sri Lanka, or was he something else?
No, he was student in Sri Lanka.
Okay, so he came when he was young.
Yeah, he was quite young. He was 24, I think.
Yeah, okay, good for him.
24, yeah.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, I guess this ship is going down. Better go.
Yeah.
So they went before, everything started.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And he met your mum over there or here?
Yeah, they were neighbors.
Really? He fell in love with the girl next door.
The girl next door.
That's a nice
They
story.
divorced though, but
Yeah,
it was a nice story.
Yeah. It ended in tragedy.
It ended in tragedy. That's where I got my comedic skills.
Yeah, exactly. Growing up in two homes.
Yeah. That was fine. They lived so close to each other. There's just a football court dividing my mom and dad. So it takes me 3 minutes to go to my dad
Oh, that's
from my
nice.
mom's.
That's good. That's important.
But I have a bedroom at my mom's place.
Cool.
I don't have it at my dad's. That's why I stay at my mom's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you see your dad a lot
Practical
anyway.
reasons. Yeah. I just visited him before I came here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I remember seeing your dad because he was he was having a good time. He always I think I've seen him twice, and he sat at the front.
Yeah.
He was like right up there. And I don't know how old your dad is. He's maybe in his 50s or 60s or something.
Yeah, 50s, yeah.
Yeah, dude, he was
late 50s.
Late 50s. Rub it in there.
Yes.
Yeah, but he was having a good time.
Oh, wow. I just realized that my dad is in his late 50s.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
He lived a full life before he had his first child.
Yeah. 28 years old.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, my mum was 27 when she had me.
Yeah.
The average age of people having kids now is like fucking way higher.
40.
Yeah, it's 40. The buddy that I met the other day, he's 40.
Yeah.
And he just had, I think it was his first kid.
Yeah.
At 40.
40. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a problem.
You think so?
I think so.
But also people are getting older as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so if we would have children at 20, we would be a parent for the next 70 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you got your first when you were 27.
No, I was 29.
29, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I was pretty close to your dad.
Yeah.
It was perfect age for me. And
Okay,
my dad was older when he had me. He was 40 as well.
He was 40 as well. Okay.
Yeah. And he died when I was 17. So I know. So then I was like, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I don't want to leave my kid when he's 17.
No,
so I wanted to have a kid like when I was under 30.
Yeah, under 30. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I'm so sorry.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. But, I was just saying that it's a problem because I think with people having kids older, and maybe it's not a massive problem, but I think that there's like a decline in the population. And I think that there's a certain amount of women that leave it too late and then they can't have kids. They're focusing on careers and doing all these other things. And I guess that's fine. But then when they want to have a kid, they maybe they're not able to, or they don't find somebody that they want to have a kid with. Yeah. And I was reading in the newspaper the other day that there's a 1-year waiting list to get sperm donors
in Denmark.
In Norway. So
Norway,
they made it legal in Norway to get sperm donation in 2018 and 2019. Because before that, women were going down to Denmark.
Yeah.
So and it's crazy. There's
that's why I live in Denmark.
Yeah, that's why you're there, just getting sperm shot into you every weekend. And not in the fun way, just visiting the clinic. Hey, let's go.
Yeah, my boyfriend doesn't like it that much.
He's got a real problem with it. He's like, honey, wipe your mouth.
Why?
Yeah. But I was reading that they had this shortage on sperm. And so women are like, maybe they're already in their like mid-30s or something. And then they got to wait a whole year just to start the procedure.
But also, if it's hard to get a guy to commit in a relationship to have a kid, don't you think it's hard to get a guy to masturbate in a cup and be like, oh yeah, maybe one day this will be like 18 years later, I will have someone knocking at my door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I think that's kind of why they're struggling too, because not that many men want to do it.
Yeah, because I think it's easier in the US.
Yeah.
Where if you get some money for it and then you're like, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. I wonder if they get money here.
I guess they would.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Do you want me to jerk off into this cup? Oh, give me 150 kroners. This shit is sacred. Come on.
I love that 150 crowns.
Yeah,
I would say
do it.
like 5,000, but no.
Don't do it. You kidding me? I'll do it for free.
Like I'll pay you to do it.
yeah. I just imagine, like, could you imagine if you're like a sperm donor, like some dude just going in there like, hey, we've got some videos. So yeah. Just, like the categories on the web, on the computer that dudes are searching for to jerk off. I'm like, this guy was looking at some weird shit. I don't think he should be a dad.
I think that's why they still have DVDs instead of...
do they have DVDs?
I think they had DVDs.
Oh, who's making DVDs? Those are some old videos.
Old school
Those
shit.
are like with the music like, oh, hi, did you order a pizza? Yeah, extra salami. Come in, please.
Maybe that's the charm of it. You're just like...
Yeah, maybe, but
there.
maybe that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Dudes just can't get it up. They're like, what is this shit? There's no stepmoms? What the fuck am I watching? This chick must be old now. Come on, bro. Shave the mustache.
I think maybe... No, okay, I don't know how guys think. I'm not gonna...
How do guys think?
How
Come
do
on.
guys think? I don't know.
I'll tell you how guys think.
Oh, I don't want to know.
Okay.
That's why.
We're going to drop it. Yeah. Shit. I think we're going to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a really good time talking to you.
Oh, me too. Me as well.
Yeah. And I think
It's
you
so
have
fun.
like a lot of good perspectives on comedy. And I love that you're doing comedy in 4 languages.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for letting me come here and talk.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
It's
All
so
right.
fun.
Thanks so much for being a guest. Ladies
Thank
and
you.
gentlemen, I love you. Mwah. Big kiss. See you later. Bam.
Bow, chicka, wow,
Bam.
wow.
Chicka, bam, bam.
I don't know what guys think. No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. That's why I don't know.